If you have been on the internet for the past few years, the concept of the backrooms should be nothing new to you. It is something that has been explored extensively. We've gotten tons of fan projects, whether it's little small series branching off of the original idea, or even fan movies. But most importantly, the biggest milestone I think the Backrooms has reached as of recently is with the Backrooms movie. Now, I have talked about the Backrooms movie before, not too in depth about the movie itself, talking more about the sentiment around it when it came out. Watch this video if you want to know more of the context. But I specifically want to target a different area of the Backrooms as a brand: video games. Now, there are quite a few Backrooms video games. It's not really a new thing. There's been probably hundreds of them, even if you count the Roblox ones or the shitty joke ones. But maybe it's just me, I have never found these games to be particularly interesting or very fun for more than maybe 20 minutes. Most of these games, especially the recent ones or more popular ones like Escape the Backrooms, I find to be mostly low effort or low experience friend slop. That's not to diss the devs, I'm sure they put in a lot of work, I just personally do not find it as interesting. When it comes to the Backrooms itself, I find the Kane Parsons version of the world, or brand as you might call it, to be the best one. It's the most intricate, it explores the most important and, in my opinion, more interesting themes, and is overall just a way better version of actual horror than what you might find on a lot of other places online that either turn the Backrooms into a comfy, small place, which I don't think is entirely wrong. I think it's a pretty cool idea and a pretty cool aspect of the Backrooms that it can be that way, but also be mind-bending and just completely breaking down your psyche. So when it comes to these games, you can expect by the definition I just gave to you, I didn't find them to be all that interesting. Until I found one. But let me correct that. It's not exactly a game. It's a map. Well, a custom map. A custom zombies map from Black Ops 3. This map is called Backrooms, with a Z at the end, mind you. And it was developed by Bone Productions. Now, I first heard of this map on TikTok, like many other things, and I thought it just looked cool. But it wasn't until I finally was able to download it and get into it that I realized Bone Productions is a genius. And not just a genius, he truly understands what makes the Backrooms so interesting and so creepy. So sit down, look at the screen, and accompany me in the journey that is Backrooms. As you start up the map, you will be greeted by a small intro sequence, which consists of a few shots from the YouTube original series, the first FBI warning shot being specifically from the presentation episode. The intro will conclude with showing you the closed threshold and then setting up the premise. Async has fallen. You are all that remains. You must enter the threshold. Immediately upon loading in, you will notice there is a power switch which you can interact with. There is also an electric cherry machine, and right next to it, the Olympia. A little further to the left, you will find the M14, and once you set up your gang affiliations, you will choose one of those and start killing zombies to open the 2 doors available in the starting room. Something I want to make note of is the soundtrack used for the map. Now, as far as I know, none of the songs that feature in this map are made by the actual developer of the map, as most of these come from the actual Backroom series, and some are from outside sources but are still kind of tangentially related to the Backrooms itself. Specifically, when you start, you are greeted by the beautiful and amazing track Government Funding. If you want to listen to the full track, which I 100% implore you to, please go to Kane Pixel's channel, or I guess not Kane Pixel's, which I will leave in the description so you can hear all of his original music. When you get enough points and open your first door, you will be greeted by this little room with 2 options. In one room, you see a bunch of servers and a little cable laying on the ground. If you go into the main room, you will see a blood-sprayed hazmat suit indicating a dead worker. And in this room, you can see the little presentation from Async for the layout of the Backrooms. You can also see a wall weapon there, but I'm not gonna buy that. The second room you can enter will be a conference room, where you can not only buy the Bowie knife, but also an MP40. In this room, you can also find the power switch part. There's a few little details like this picture of a few scientists, I guess, and some whiteboards detailing random details that I'm pretty sure don't really matter for the map and are just generic assets. But overall, this starting room is not pretty complex, and it's pretty good to just get you started and get a few points with zombies. As for the implications so far in terms of lore, I don't think there's any exactly big ones. As far as we know, Async has fallen. As to how, it's not really explained, and I'm pretty sure the map is not really trying to add new groundbreaking lore. It's just taking what exists from the movie and the series and making its own little spin on it, and obviously adding zombies. You could try to make the claim that maybe Async died to a zombie apocalypse, and you being the last remaining, or I guess 4 players, however it is, you have to go into the complex itself to find a cure maybe. Whatever the case, the point is this map doesn't really have a particular story, or at least not anything that would add on to the existing lore of the Backrooms, so it's not really something you should be paying attention to during your playthrough. Once you have all the power switch parts and feel comfortable enough leaving the starting room, you can craft the power switch itself and turn it on. This will open the giant door and give you access to the complex. Now the way of entry to the complex is through this little hole you can crouch down and slide into, which will actually lead you inside the backrooms proper. Now, I'm not exactly sure what this layout is a reference to in the series. As you can see here, there's a door with steering wheels, which is obviously a reference to Clark and the movie itself. There are more steering wheels and chairs on the wall here that hint towards that too. But I do want to bring attention to the track that first plays whenever you enter the backrooms. While I couldn't find the name for this song, I want to highlight how absolutely perfect it is for everything, like for all the feelings you might be feeling the second you go into the backrooms. Also, I want to highlight the other noises, as whenever you're in these particular like yellow papered wall areas, there's a lot of ambient noises like random footsteps and knocking noises, which always make you feel like you're not alone or like you're being watched, which technically it's true, since there's always zombies on your ass. But I feel like especially when you play a map like this, you can kind of just tune out the zombies and just get completely absorbed by the atmosphere. The first perk you will ever see in the backrooms is Quick Revive, and as you can see, it is almost sunken into the floor and wall, which is such a cool detail that completely makes you feel even more immersed inside of the backrooms. When you open this weird looking door, you will be greeted by this kind of odd wallpaper structure and also a furniture pile, which at first I thought would be unique, but it's actually quite frequent. There's also the stop sign, which is obviously a reference to the movie. And overall, this hallway is a bit odd to play in, as it has a lot of dead ends. And here you can see a little bit of the wallpaper poking out from the room you're about to see in the next area. Once you gain access to this hallway, you will be able to enter this weird, almost nail salon kind of looking room. I say that by the chairs, but you can also see the kind of furniture you would see in like the lobby of a hotel room. Overall, it's a weird, creepy vibe, and the fact that it's dark also doesn't help. When you proceed further into this big room, you will find this car, which I'm pretty sure is a reference to the crashed car you could see in found footage too. You will also get the mystery box here. I'm pretty sure this is a guaranteed spawn in every single one of my runs. Every time I come here, the box is always here, so that's nice, because as you will see as we keep going through this video, this map is huge, and you obviously can't look up in the sky to see the ray of the box, so it's really nice to just have a guaranteed one spot so you can get something at least. Going back to this one room with the steering wheels and this little sign, if you proceed further, you will find the little suburban neighborhood area. Now, this area has, in my opinion, the best soundtrack that not only Kane Parsons has ever made, but also the best track in this map, period. Aside from the masterful music work that Kane Parsons does on all his music, one of the things that makes this stand out so much during gameplay is how the volume of the music is affected by the area. Not only does every area has their own specific track, they also change in volume depending on how far or close you are to them. As you can see in the video, the closer I get to the neighborhood, the louder it gets and the more it fills your senses. The only other thing the neighborhood has is Jug, but as you can see, getting Jug is not exactly that easy. While there are many Jug machines, some of them are fake, as you can see in the footage here. So you have to search through quite a few of these little garage houses until you can find the actual real Jug machine. This is yet again another one of those very small details that just make this map feel so alive and so iconic. And again, so part of the Backrooms. Things like this are what make maps great. Aside from Jug and a custom perk you can find in the back of the suburbs, there's not really anything much you can find in this place. Oh, well, there's a caveman, and that's it. Once you move from the suburbs, the first area you will find directly after is the pool rooms, in which, as you can see, you can find the little flag which will help you build Pack-a-Punch later. The pool rooms, in my opinion, is one of the areas I like the least from this whole custom map. There's nothing particularly wrong with it, and as you'll see later, it's very important for actually progressing through the map. But I feel like the vibes were kind of off with this. They definitely tried to make it more dark and appeal a little more to, you know, the usual Kane Parsons vibe that you get with the Backrooms. But at the same time, I feel like it's a bit too bland and basic, and I would have liked to have it feel a little less trying to be unsettling, which again I feel like it fails at, and be a little more calming, maybe a bit more dreamcore. I know that's kind of blasphemy when you talk about Kane Parsons' work, but again, it would have been a nice contrast, but that's just my opinion. One thing I do like about the pool rooms though is the track that plays when you're in it. At this point in the game, there's not really much you can do in the pool rooms except just leave, so for now we're gonna keep going. Once you clear some boxes and run up this very concerningly small corridor, I guess, you will be able to clear up these white chairs and have two paths. Personally, I prefer to take this path first, and this is the probably creepiest or one of the creepiest parts of the game. I don't know why, but every time I run through this hallway, I just get so creeped out. Once you push through that corridor, you will find yourself in the office building biome in the Backrooms. Now this area, aside from looking really comfy and having that good view outside of the windows, doesn't really have a whole lot of substance to it. It's not really good for training, obviously, since there's a lot of cubicles and obstacles that would block your way while trying to run, and most of it is just hallways like this, which will definitely get you killed in the higher rounds. There is this little conference room here to the right, but this area serves more as a bridge of sorts. It doesn't really serve a greater purpose than that, but I do like the soundtrack though. Right after the office building, you will come into the area I call the Dark House. I am not exactly sure what's the point of this area other than just being creepy. It literally is just a dark house. There are some rooms to it. There's like a little kitchen, and there's a spot where you can look up and see the sky, which I'm not even sure if it's intended. But the main attraction is the soundtrack, which is insanely creepy. Connected to the Dark House is the dance studio, which also shares the same soundtrack that the Dark House uses. The main purpose of the dance studio, aside from obviously being, you know, part of the YouTube series and where Robbie gets chased by his still life, which by the way, I think it's a very missed opportunity to use Do You Like Air Conditioning here, which unfortunately the dev didn't, but the point of this area is that there is a Pack-a-Punch piece, which you can get in multiple different areas. I am showing you most of them now. I ended up getting it in the last area I looked. But aside from that, there is also a few custom perks like Banana Colada and a weird nuke kind of perk, which I don't even know how to explain. And there's also a secret area that will open up here later, but we'll get into that once we get into that. Finally, there is the soul box, which you can start filling up by killing zombies in front of the speakers here. I will explain what the soul boxes do once we fill up all of them, but for now that is all you will get from the dance studio. Once you're done with everything in that kind of wing of the map, you can go back to that long hallway you walked into from the pool rooms and open these crate boxes kind of thing to open the other area. In here, you will find the room from the movie where Warren died. You will even see the locked door and the kind of bloodied hazmat suit on the ground, indicating where Warren was killed by Pirate Clark. If you keep moving through here though, you will find this little custom perk that makes it so that power-ups move towards you, which is pretty cool. And a few like newspaper clippings that I'm not sure if they're supposed to be missing persons kind of things. In here you can see a couch with a fast travel and the Captain Clark mural, which is kind of a random placement, but it's cool to see it in the map. Further down the room, you will find this Christmas tree in a little window, which if you look down upon, you will find the Liminal Hotel. Now, it has been darkened from the last update. Before, it looked a lot more faithful to how it looked in the series, but there's a reason for that. If you follow this path to the left, you will find another furniture pile and a little mural, which is actually from Revelations and has nothing to do with the Backrooms. It's just COD Zombies. You will find Zombshell alongside another window that lets you look into the Liminal Hotel area. If we go back to this door we ignored before and open it, you will be able to find the cinema. Now the cinema, I'm not exactly sure if it shows up in the series. I don't remember seeing anything about it. I could be wrong though. Here we have another custom perk and a bunch of movie rooms that don't really do anything special aside from showing the main lobby kind of area. So if you're playing co-op, you can see other players running through the area while you're there. There's the Space Cadet custom perk, which in my opinion is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it just makes it so that whenever you're about to die, or not even about to die, if you just take 2 hits, you will go into kind of an in plain sight invisibility mode, which is nice to have, but I find it to be more annoying most of the time because it triggers after 2 hits, which means after getting Jug, it basically is kind of useless and will be wasted constantly, and the cooldown is pretty damn long. Once you've fully explored that area of the map and opened most of the doors, you can come back to the pool rooms where you will see this opening in the wall has opened up, in which you will see this kind of weird area that is very reminiscent of how the pool rooms looked in the actual movie, kind of when Clark is running around the area. And at the end of it, you can find the perk Astral Ale, which is actually required for the progression of the map. Kind of a weird thing that this map does. I don't know if other custom maps do it because I'm not very well versed in custom zombies as a whole, but in this map, there are 2 perks that are vital to the progression and how you open up a lot of the things in the map. For example, Astral Ale makes it so that you basically float almost as if you had 0 gravity constantly, and you also get a double jump, which allows you to jump up this pipe and actually progress through the map and get the other perk which you need for progression called Glitching Gin, which gives you grenades that make you teleport, and also they work as kind of a Widow's Wine in the sense that if you get hit a few times, whereas Widow's Wine would turn on a grenade that would slow zombies, Glitching Gin would make it so that you teleport a few feet forward in an attempt to actually dodge the zombies. Whether this is successful all the time is kind of debatable in some areas, especially the area where you actually get Glitching Gin itself, which is kind of a pool. It slows down your movement a lot and actually doesn't help all that much. I find myself getting killed quite a bit actually, but it is still a good perk to have, and again, it's cool to have progression by way of perks. Aside from the perk itself, the only other thing you will find in this area, aside from the cool visuals, is another soul box, which I recommend you get filled up as soon as possible, because getting back to this area during normal gameplay is a headache and a half. And also, do not die here, because if you die here, you are going to set yourself back a ton. The next area of the map I want to talk about is one you can get through by looking at this mannequin here and clearing these couches. And this is probably visually one of my favorite areas. It is the Red City from Found Footage 3. This entire section, which, and by the way, you can get a Pack-a-Punch piece, which you just saw me get, is so just cozy. There's no better way to describe it. Even with the zombies rushing you down and the constant noise of it, there's just this strange feeling of warmness and like I'm just home somehow. I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but then again, it could also be the soundtrack, which is amazing and it helps this vibe a lot. If you get closer to the window and look down, you will be able to see the Red Street, which is an area you can make your way to later in the match. Aside from the windows, there is this little corner in the room here, which is a direct reference to the Christmas tree room we see in the movie of the Backrooms, which I find to be extremely creepy. But other than that, all you can find here is the keycard metal door, which we can't access right now, a custom perk, and the soul box reward crate, which we can't really access until we've filled all 4 soul boxes. One thing you will notice is that there is a bit of a shortcut from the Red City room to this room we saw before with the car from found footage 2. This is a really cool quality that the map has, where the more doors you open and the more rooms you visit, they eventually start colliding into themselves and giving you shortcuts. If you jump down to what would look like certain death, you will see that you will get teleported to what is essentially the hub of the backrooms, which is where you originally start once you leave the facility. This is a cool thing you can find in many of the areas around this map that make traversing it not as much of a headache since you can constantly teleport. The next big area we can explore is one you will recognize immediately, which is the pitfalls. Now, if you actually fall into any of these holes, I'm pretty sure you just get teleported to the hub of the backrooms again, but if you make the pretty easy movement, you can get to this little hall where you can get this cool custom perk that makes it so that when zombies get close to you, they get slower. And you also reveal this weird hallway which will lead you into this kind of weird, almost school setting kind of thing. I'm not sure I really like this area, mainly because of how dark it is and also the fact that there's practically nothing here. As far as I know, there's no hidden Easter egg, no custom perks or nothing. This is again one of those areas that serves as a bridge to bring you back to what is arguably the second hub of the map, which is again where the mystery box is and where the crashed car is at. Once we make our way back to the pitfalls room though, we can see this little sign before a slope here, which is a reference to the pitfalls video, in which when you slide down, you will find the red suburbs. Now this area is again one of my favorites. I don't know why, I just love when you mix the color red with the backrooms aesthetic. When it comes to gameplay, this area is also pretty important, as you have one perk here and you also have a soul box, but more importantly than that, this is where you can actually build Pack-a-Punch. If you have picked up all the 3 pieces I have shown you so far, you can come into this little empty room, which is again a reference to the YouTube series, and you can craft Pack-a-Punch right here. Now this is a pretty dangerous Pack-a-Punch room due to how closed off it is and the fact that if you enter here mid-round, you're probably gonna end up dying, but I don't know, I kind of like that. I kind of like the danger of it. It almost reminds me of Ascension a little bit. When it comes to the other houses in the suburbs, unfortunately you can't go into any one that isn't the Pack-a-Punch one, which is a bit sad, but I understand why they did it that way. It also kind of fits. However, when you're bored, you can go prone under here, and this is practically the only way to exit the suburbs. It will lead you into the White House, which is again a reference to Pitfalls. Here you will find Stone Cold Stronghold, and I'm pretty sure that's it. The White House as a whole is a very closed and very tight area, which you would not want to be in mid-round. If you're ever here, you have to leave ASAP, because as you can see, it gets pretty hectic. Thankfully I got in here like as the round was starting, so most of the zombies weren't even spawned in properly yet, but believe me, I've died many times in this area, so just get the fuck out. This area is clearly a bridge to just get you back outside of the slope, I guess you could call it, and get you back into the main map without, you know, having to run up a slope. And here you can see the main method of fast travel on the map, which is the blue tape null zones, you can call them. They're kind of unreliable because as you can see, you don't always know where you're gonna end up. I kind of wanted to go back to the main hub of the backrooms, but I ended up being at the dance studio, which turned out to be a good thing because again, the way you progress in this map is non-linear, and due to the doors I opened before, this actually opened up a secret wall in the dance studio that wasn't there before. Once you decide it's safe enough to go down, you can open the boxes and you will find yourself in the fake neighborhood, or at least I'm pretty sure that's what the community calls it. This area is so damn creepy. On my first playthrough, my ass was tighter than a fucking bottle cap. I was sure something was gonna jump at me at every corner, but quickly enough you will find yourself in this very well lit room, which is actually a reference to the series yet again. Now, the dev put in a little jump scare here, which is pretty damn funny and actually got me the first time I saw it. I was playing at like 2 AM. You can't really blame me, but I'm pretty sure that's not the only jump scare you can find. In here though, you can find this custom perk, which is actually very cool. It makes it so that whenever you headshot zombies, you get ammo back. A really fun custom perk to use. And I just want to mention, this map is very good with custom perks as it has over 30 of them and there's no perk limit. So you can become as broken as you want. And since, you know, it's a classic point system, you can just get as many perks as you want very early on. In here you can see me try to use another one of these fast travels, which when I go in ends up playing the little Backrooms edit type thing, you know, where you go down through the floors, which is pretty cool. Now I know it obviously didn't come from the edit and it's actually part of the movie in a way, but again I just wanted to reference it in a cool way. It is a pretty cool sequence, and these sequences that you get through fast travel I'm pretty sure are triggered by how far you've progressed in the map, and since by this point in the match I've opened almost every door, you start getting more and more sequences like that, which again just adds so much flavor to the map as a whole. Here's another perfect example of how cool the progression on this map is. Since you have Glitching Jin, you can throw the grenade through the hole, which will teleport you inside of the room itself, where you have a few references like the wallpaper from Clark's store, the two upside down chairs, and then a small kind of version of the pitfalls, which if you get through, you end up getting stamina up. Now, to me it's kind of crazy that they're locking stamina up, which is arguably the most useful perk on this map behind this whole thing where you have to get Glitching Jin first. Also, you can use the Glitching Jin to get behind this window, and that is where you get Gobblegums. Now that we've opened enough doors and we've progressed far enough in the map, if we come back to this little hallway where you would get to the suburbs, you will see that this wall is now open. It wasn't before when you spawn in, but now you get this cool visual, again reminiscent of a lot of the architecture of the Backrooms itself, where if you keep going down it, you will eventually find yourself in Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire. I really want to point out how there is so much detail in everything inside of this room. I guess you could call it, it's technically a whole store, but I'm gonna call it a room. Everything is very accurate to how it looked like in the movie, because this is specifically the version you see in the Backrooms. You see the wallpaper there, you see all the furniture and stuff. There's a soul box here, the last soul box I need, I'm pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure you can access this room earlier on. This is supposed to be Clark's office, but there's not really anything there. The only other important thing in this area is in the basement, and well, it's technically two things. It's the blue tape null zone, and then there is double tap, which is again a must, especially when it comes to classic zombies. So it's nice that they put it in a place that's not too far from spawn, but that you also kind of have to work to get through. Another thing you can get now that you have Glitching Jin is the zombie shield. You can see this opening here in the wallpaper, and if you throw your grenade in, you will be teleported. Inside of the room, you will see the posts that show up at the end of the movie with Bobby and Kat's missing posters. I think it's a pretty cool detail to have that in such a I guess you can say out of the way place. But after you run through this long hallway, you will get this absolutely massive room, which looks almost impossible, but it's actually a little parkour section, which is only really possible because you have Astro Ale. If you don't have Astro Ale, this is practically impossible, or I guess very slow. You could technically do it only with teleporting grenades, but it would take you a long ass time, and believe me, the first few times I played this map, this parkour room had me just wanting to tear my hair out because it was so frustrating. Basically, anytime you fall, you will get teleported to like a checkpoint before, like one of the platforms you were beforehand. But it doesn't work really well because as you fall, you will keep your momentum, which means you will keep constantly sliding off until you get teleported to all the way to the beginning. As you can see here, the way I'm falling, I keep kind of moving to the left, and it makes it so that no matter how I try to save myself, I will always end up going back to the beginning. But once you get comfortable enough with the parkour and learn how to actually get through this, you will be able to get all three of the shield parts, which I will show you now. The first one is up in this kind of window area. You always have to throw a Glitching Jin grenade or be, I don't know, crazy with the jumps, but you will get the first part there. The second one will always be in this little platform, which is kind of the second to last jump you have to make, and it's always pretty easy to pick up, so just get it. Now usually these parts do have random spawns, but they have more or less the same general area. So even if that part doesn't spawn for you in that specific piece of floor, it will spawn either right where I'm looking here or like nearest to this ladder. The really cool thing about this area, however, is that once you actually finish the parkour and come into this place, you will find that it's the place where Mary actually got into Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire. This whole area looks so damn cool. And while you can't go into every individual level and explore, you can go to the first two, in which you will find the last shield piece. As a whole, I want to mention that while obviously I would have liked for this area to be huge and have a lot of rooms and stuff, it's kind of unrealistic. Like, again, this place probably has well over 100 floors, and having to design each and every single one, especially when there's not really anything of note in this area other than the perk you just saw, which is Victoria's Tortoise. I kind of understand. I know, especially since I'm assuming the dev is like a single guy, that this would be a massive undertaking. However, I do like how the only way to get out of this is literally just to jump down. You can kind of notice that most of the bottom floors have basically nothing on them. They're kind of just fake. But once you get back to the top, you can run up the stairs like Mary did, and you can escape through this hole, which will bring you back. It will take you right in front of the table so you can craft a shield, and congratulations, you now have a zombie shield. Another cool place you can explore is in the cinema. Way in the back of it, if you open this door and jump down, you will find yourself in the Red Street. Now, again, this is one of the latest areas added with the last few updates, and it's so cool. I don't know why I always feel so unsettled whenever I'm here. This little wall buy, or I guess floor buy, even though it doesn't look like anything, it's actually for monkeys, which is pretty cool that you can buy monkeys from the wall on this map. But yeah, this whole area is so damn creepy, and again, it's concepts like this that are so cool. The fact that you could be just running and sliding through and then you just get immediately teleported to the back rooms. I would have liked, however, for the Red City to be expanded in some kind of way. I know, again, it's another technically unrealistic request, as we didn't get to see much of it itself in the actual YouTube series, so the dev would kind of be just making shit up as he goes along. But again, the vibe of it, dude, the red color, the way everything looks so oppressive, but also kind of cozy at the same time, it would have been amazing. In here, you can see the mural from Found Footage 1 alongside the corpse, which is, again, just such a cool detail. Now that we've opened up almost every door on the map, you can come back to the room where Warren died, and the door will now be open. If you go inside, you will find the dining room from basically the end of the movie, alongside Bandolier Bandit at the end, which is always a good perk to have. But when I first found this, I was just so creeped out by the vibe you get here. The music is, again, the track Malignant from before, and it just does not help the vibe at all. You always feel accosted or oppressed somehow. I don't even know how to explain it. If you keep moving through where you were before in front of the cinema, you will now find this door that is actually open, and if you open it, you will realize that this is the little slide, I guess you could call it, where Bobby went down, in which you will find the piles of clothes, a bunch of trash, and a key card to actually open the exit, I guess you could call it. This area is the creepiest area in the game. You can see this mannequin here, which I guess kind of represents Clark, and before the update, you couldn't open this. This was just a wall, and when I opened this in the recording, this was the first time I actually saw it, and I was creeped out. I was so scared, I actually like ran out. I did not want to go in there because, again, the track is so oppressive. I was kind of scared I was going to see a dead body here. I just kind of kept running through because I wanted to look at it, but at the same time, I was so creeped out this whole time. I'm pretty sure this is where Clark ran off to after he ran through the wall. And dude, when I tell you I came into this hallway and I saw that little silhouette at the end, my heart skipped a beat. But I decided to keep on pushing through, and I was actually greeted by quite a nice surprise. If you actually open this door and come into this place, this is the bottom of the Liminal Hotel, which is not only the best training room in the whole map. Dude, the vibes here are immaculate. The track that plays here is actually quite odd. I don't think it has a name. Again, it's been so hard for me to find the names of some of these tracks because they're not exactly in the credits of the map, but give it a listen. It's a bit of a creepy track, and I can almost hear the siren head kind of wailing. It's a bit odd, maybe it's just me, but I can kind of hear it in the background. I can't really tell if this track is supposed to be creepy or comforting. Either way, it unsettles the fuck out of me. The only other thing you will find at the bottom of the Liminal Hotel is a custom perk in the back here, and this perk just has the effect that after you drink it, there's a chance that you will get papped weapons from the box. Nothing too crazy, but just like a nice quality of life perk to have. The only other area you can explore from this, I guess, section of the map is the train station. Now, I'm actually not sure if this shows up in the series. It has to because everything else in the map does, but maybe it's just me, I don't remember it. However, you can find the last perk of the map, I think, Divine Ale, which is actually insanely broken. As you can see, it has a ton of effects. It's kind of hard to read, but basically it just makes one of your weapons divine, and that weapon gets a bunch of stupid ass buffs. It's extremely ridiculous. I love the perk machine design though. It looks really cool. I don't like how the bottle looks like you're kind of drinking piss, but I guess there's nothing really wrong with that. Outside of that, this area is extremely small and there's not really anything else to it. None of that matters though, because now that we finished all the soul boxes, we can actually open up this crate, and what it gives you is a random wonder weapon. If you don't like what it gives you, you can re-roll it, but now that we have the key card, we can open this metal door, which will lead you into the forest wallpaper room. I don't know what else to call this. You can find Dying Wish here, which again is one of the best perks in all of zombies, and it's always good to have. There is this little room here that has kind of like a toy playmat on the ground. It's honestly kind of creepy how it feels like a kid was trapped here, but I just move on along from that. And if you keep going through these corridors, you will eventually walk your way to this tree, which is weird to see, and the final door. Now this door costs 40,000 points, and once you open it, you will be able to enter the final room of the map, which for some reason anytime I come in here, I am always just so unsettled. I get that green mass is supposed to be kind of like the radiation or the sun kind of thing that created the backrooms, but I don't know, man. Every time I look at it, I feel so weirded out. You can buy the Makarov pistol from the wall, but I don't know if it's any good. Anyways, if you go into the null zone, you will actually exit the backrooms, and you will get this kind of video, which I'm pretty sure is already from the series, and if you interact with that stack of papers, you can actually end the match. I wanted to linger around for a little bit to see if anything changed with the last update, but it didn't seem like it. I'm pretty sure, again, that video is just from the YouTube series, so you can just watch it if you really want to. But overall, I want to give my thoughts on this map. I think this map is incredible. If that wasn't clear to you enough, I mean, I'm making a fucking 30-minute long video. This map is truly a work of art. You can tell the creator loves the backrooms just as much as anybody else does, and I am honestly just in awe of how well he was able to capture the feeling of the backrooms, how well he was able to adapt so many areas from the YouTube series itself and the movie into the play space of a Call of Duty Zombies map. It is incredible. Now, Catherine Brown Productions has confirmed that he is actually working on a sequel to this map. He says it will be different but also similar, and I for one cannot wait. In my opinion, this map did have a few shortcomings. My number one issue is just the boss enemies. As you could see in some parts of the footage, this map doesn't have any backrooms, specific enemies. And here you will have the astronaut from Moon, and you will also have the Margwa spawn in, but he kind of spawns in very late and it doesn't really matter. And it's honestly really sad because we could have had something like Captain Clark or the Life Form, or I don't know, a type of still life. It would have been cool to see, backroom specific enemies, but again, it is the first map of this type, or at least this caliber, and it's kind of understandable why they didn't go that route. Still, for that backroom sequel map, I would love to see something like this. I would love to see these ideas expanded more. And yeah, if you sat through this fucking nearly 40-minute long video and watched everything, dude, thank you so much. This has been a very long project. It has taken so many hours of my life, and I am so happy to finally be done with it and actually be able to put it out. I know my videos haven't been getting a lot of views lately, so I know this won't reach like a larger audience, but the few people that do watch, please, like, if you have any actual way to try this map out, do it. Support the creator, because at the end of the day, this is my main goal with this video. I want more people to know about this map. Even though it's already extremely popular, I want even more. If you don't know about it, I wanted you to know about it and actually try it out. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day, afternoon, or night, and I hope your life is great. Bye.